This phone is a beast. This phone is a thick beast. This phone is a sexy beast. Hi, it's Jez from the Chinese Takeaway, and this is Living With, where we give our thoughts about what's it like living with that piece of technology for over a year. We give it a long-term review, and
One eternity later.
today I'm giving my thoughts on my Razer Phone 2. This has been my daily driver for a year and a half, and what was in the market at the time as well was basically the iPhone XS, the Samsung Note 9, and the OnePlus 6T. So you have to imagine this is 2018. The $1,000 smartphone just came onto the market. So you had the iPhone 10 as well as the Galaxy Note as well. Though I thought the cost was still pretty high, I didn't think there was anything in the market that warranted that price at the time. Sure, you had the iPhone XS as well as Samsung Note 9, but there wasn't that much innovation that year. The XS is just an update for the 10, and the Note 9, well, Samsung had a reputation at the time as well of not really updating their phones. Spec-wise, yes, it has a bump in specs, but there was nothing new, no new form factor, no new as well as software inbuilt as well too much, and it was quite disappointing that year. And this is where the Razer Phone 2 came in, or shall I say, the gaming phone market. The previous year, 2017, Razer, Xiaomi, and Asus all came out with their gaming phone product that basically was high-performance phones with maybe a few features that stood out from the rest to make it more gamer-centric. However, they all had one single flaw. It wasn't very usable. You look at a camera and you think, okay, if you buy, let's say, $1,000 phone or maybe $800 phone, you would think, okay, it's going to have a decent camera. That wasn't the case for these phones. They basically had very, very basic camera software as well as basic lenses that weren't very, very good. But then the second iteration came out in 2018. So Razer Phone 2 basically what came out as a gaming phone that was made for livability as well. So all these phones at the time didn't even have waterproof or splash proof, which a phone costing about, I think you pay $800 at the time, that's the minimum expectation basically. So when that came out, I decided to, bite the bullet and get it. So what do I think about it? First of all, I consume a lot of media content. Basically, that means a lot of videos. So I watch a lot of YouTube. I even watch Netflix on my phone. Speakers need to be good. So, I listen to quite a lot of music as well. So the first thing that I needed was front-facing speakers. Now, in 2018 at the time, that wasn't the fashion. The fashion at the time was to put kind of that notchless design and put the speakers in the bottom of the where the charger goes through. Anyone can tell you that doesn't really give you that great of a stereo surround sound when you're listening to, let's say, YouTube. So when the Razer Phone 2 had THX certified front-facing speakers, I thought that was probably one of the big factors that came in, and they were actually very, very good. They were loud, they were crisp, they were clear, and it does make a difference. This follows on to the main reason why I bought the Razer Phone 2, the screen. The colors on the screen were incredible, and it's that 120 hertz refresh rate. Basically, the gaming phone market was way ahead of the curve. And when I mean ahead of the curve, I mean 3 years ahead of the curve, where high refresh screen rates were, highly valued. So it's 2020, and only these phones at the moment that just came out as premium phones has faster than 90 hertz refresh rate screens. We're talking about the Samsung S20s, the not Logitech, the OnePlus 8 Pros, and basically what happened is that everyone that used my phone were blown away with the screen refresh rate. So when we're talking about screen refresh rate, we're talking about how smooth the animations are, how crisp the text are as well, and scrolling. I mean, everyone mentioned the scrolling was just so smooth. The third reason is the humongous battery that it came with, 4,000 milliamps. Enough said. What happens is that I put it on the screen refresh rate as normal, and I've had it last a day and a half, 2 days without charging, which if you don't play any games that really stresses the CPU, you're absolutely fine with it. So it does last for that amount of time. So, final thoughts about this phone. It's a thick beast. It requires 2 hands on it at all times. If not, you're gonna drop it all the time. Luckily, this thing is built like a tank. I've dropped the screen face down in concrete, on tiles, on wooden panels, and it just kept on going. And my previous phone was an iPhone. I definitely know that it would have smashed to little pieces. So, well done to Razer Phone for making a phone that actually is built quite solidly. That being said, this phone is starting to degrade a bit. The battery is not as, I don't think it's running at 100% for 4,000 milliamps, as well as the screen. Unfortunately, the screen has started showing a bit of burning on the side. And that just basically, is a reminder that my phone is getting on a bit now, as well as the biggest thing that made me want to change was the charger. USB Type-C charger was broken, so I could only charge it wirelessly. And unfortunately for Razer, they put the wireless charge unit in a very unusual place. It's not in the middle of the phone, it's slightly lower, which means if you put it on a charging pad, it'll just fall off. So I had to fashion myself a little stand so that it can able to sit upwards and be able to charge at the same time. So will I get another one, another gaming phone? Definitely not. As much as I enjoyed the Razer phone, it unfortunately pointed out a basic requirement that I think I need for all my phones now, which is a decent camera. The phone app itself was slow and crashed all the time, and the camera itself was very, very mediocre. It came to the point where I just no longer took photos of anything. I just asked someone else to do it for me. And it gets quite annoying because it's always you being like, oh, sorry, my phone camera's crap. You basically lose out a lot, and kind of made me really, really value a decent phone camera. So final thoughts. First of all, high refresh rate screen. You got to get one, or you got to try it to see the actual difference. It's like going from standard definition to high definition. Your eyes can definitely see the difference. Basically, they might be coming out with bigger refresh rates, monitor screens. Don't bother, that's when your eyes can't differentiate anymore. Lastly, don't get sucked into the marketing like I did. Basically, a lot of my things are Razer, and this was going to be my first Android phone, and kind of dove in headfirst with that kind of, really doing my due diligence on, what other decent premium phones there were out there. Again, the last thing about the backlight and the logo is nice, but it gets old quite quickly. That being said, I am looking forward to seeing what the third iteration of the Razer phone would be like. I hear that there's a lot of rumblings in the industry saying that they might actually release it, but I think that at the trajectory that they were going from the first one to the second one, which was a huge improvement, I'm also looking forward to see what the third run of updates, because high refresh rates is already standard of premium phones. What's the next thing that they can really push the phone market to be thinking, oh, this is what a standard should be like for whatever it is that they were doing, or that's new. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. If you like the video, like, subscribe with the button below. And if you have any ideas what me and Neil should talk about, or me and Neil should do, leave a comment below and we'll get back to you.